The Mets go with a former Mets star to be their next manager. More on Carlos Beltran's new deal ahead. And how many teams passed on Josh Gordon. Details coming your way. But first,
24 hours ago, we told you that Stephen Curry would be out indefinitely with that broken left hand. Tonight, we have big news surrounding the two-time league MVP. It is not good news, though, Kevin. The breaking news in the SportsCenter is that the Warriors star guard will be out at least 3 months. Curry had successful surgery to repair the broken bone in his non-shooting hand. Suffered in the third quarter of Wednesday's blowout loss to the Suns. The team says he'll be reevaluated in 3 months. Here's what Draymond Green said about Stephen before the news actually broke today. Listen.
I mean, it sucks. It's tough. A lot of people care about the basketball side of it. And, the team will be without Steph. Obviously, it gets way harder without Steph. I worry about the Steph that can't pick up Cannon. The Steph that can't toss Riley and Ryan around. The Steph that can't pass Aisha a pot because she asked him, hey, can you grab that pot? I'm mixing. Like, that's the stuff I worry about. So it sucks. Like I've said before, you live that every day of your life. And that's the part that, is just tougher to me than anything.
Love that Draymond Green offers perspective. It's much bigger than basketball. It's about life. As we take a look at the picture he posted on his Instagram account yesterday before the surgery. Adrian Wojnarowski joins me now, and obviously a bad start to this season. And now this, I guess when it rains, it pours for the Golden State Warriors after, the dynasty that they created the past 5 seasons. But Woj, really, how shocking is this Stephen Curry injury now, the prognosis to this franchise?
Well, Stephen Curry is their identity, and he is been the centerpiece of this dynasty. But they also understood in Golden State that this, at the very minimum, was going to be a transition year, that they were going to be fortunate to even make the playoffs. And now with Curry out for at least 3 months, any thought they had of getting into that Western Conference race is gone. And this is a team now that is looking toward next season, the following year. They have under contract with their 4 max contracts, Curry, Thompson, Draymond Green, and D'Angelo Russell. They have over $550 million committed to those players. So they're still taking a very long view here.
Yeah, absolutely. It's not just about today. It's the future. Right. And this franchise and the management knows how to handle that, obviously. I keep hearing this word tanking with the Golden State Warriors, which surprises me. I mean, should I be surprised? Should we be surprised to hear people saying they should tank?
I mean, do you want them to play with 3 guys on the court, 4 guys on the court? Because right now, the team they're putting out there has not been competitive. And, I joked with Bob Myers about it, and he said, have we been holding back or something? Is there something else, somebody else we could be putting on the court? Number one, they've changed the rules with the draft lottery. They flattened out the odds. There is no benefit to just bottoming out. And you saw that in last year's draft lottery because of the numbers. They'll try to develop these young players. That's what they have to play right now. But this is a team that is going to struggle against almost anybody in the NBA right now to win a basketball game without holding anybody back.
What a change. It just still sounds strange to even say. By the way, if you think about the last 6 real meaningful games for the Golden State Warriors, they've lost Kevin Durant, Klay Thompson, and Stephen Curry, all with very significant injuries. Woj, back with more NBA in just a little bit. Thank you. In the meantime, when you think about the 3 months for Stephen Curry, if it ends up being that, which they say it's a minimum, they'll be without him for the next 45 games, which would be the most time the 2-time MVP has missed in a single season in his 11-year career. So tough start to the season, just got much worse. And PTI now back to talk about how they should handle this. Mike Wilbon and Frank Isola, take it away.
All right, Frank, with the news that Steph Curry is going to miss at least 3 months, should the Warriors tank?
It's a devastating blow, but they don't even have to say we're tanking. Steve Kerr just has to go in that locker room every night and say, hey, guys, just go out there and keep playing hard. Because playing hard, they got blown out by the Clippers. Okay, you would expect that. They got blown out on the road, Oklahoma City, blown out at home to the Phoenix Suns, the game that Steph got hurt in. They've been the best franchise in the NBA the last 5 years. They were going to be a lottery team anyway. They are now in contention to finish with the worst record in the league without saying it's a full-out tank.
I wanted to dispute this, but I can't. I can't argue with you. I mean, you look at their own division, Frankie. You and I sat and worked out some numbers. It looks like a 3-13 sort of situation. And you can go out throughout the West and do that. I mean, let's just cut to the chase. How many teams in the West right now, without Steph Curry, are going to be worse than the Warriors? We would have said perhaps New Orleans, not anymore. We would have said perhaps Phoenix. Phoenix just looks better anyway.
Sacramento hasn't won yet.
Sacramento hasn't won yet, but I think they're going to get it turned around. Memphis.
Yeah.
I think Memphis is the only team we can sit here today and say with some sort of authority or confidence will be worse than the Warriors. And this is just a stunner. But you know what? It could be like, look, the San Antonio Spurs stayed atop the standings this way with this kind of misfortune. David Robinson had an injury. He was out for an entire season or close to it. What happens? They go in the lottery, they wind up getting Tim Duncan, and they ride it out for the next 15 years or more. This could be the case with Golden State.
I think that's what Bob Myers, the general manager, is thinking. I think the big question for them will be, how much does Draymond Green play this year? I don't think they're going to run Draymond into the ground knowing you're going to get back Klay Thompson, Steph Curry, and then a high pick as well.
That's as close as you get to tank. They don't need to tank.
They don't.
It's going to be
Go
a
out
tough,
there and
tough,
play,
tough
boys.
season.
Keep doing it.
That's it. We're done. Back to you.
Did not expect to see that topic far in 2019 to the NFL's biggest storylines heading into the weekend. Chiefs head coach Andy Reid declined to say whether Patrick Mahomes would be back under center when KC hosts Minnesota Sunday. Mahomes has been limited in practice this week. Dwayne Haskins will make his first career start for Washington on Sunday at Buffalo. The rookie has thrown 4 picks this season while attempting just 22 passes in relief. Colt McCoy will be the backup as Case Keenum remains in the concussion protocol. And frustration over the lack of improvement in what has been described as a mild Liz Frank injury led Panthers quarterback Cam Newton to fly to Wisconsin and meet with a specialist today. Newton has been sidelined since re-aggravating the injury in a Week 2 loss to the Buccaneers. Adam Schefter is here with much more, ton of big-name quarterback news on a Friday. Let's start in Carolina here. Schefty, what concerns do the Panthers have about the future of Cam Newton?
Listen, they've been proceeding as if they can't count on him this year anyway, with Kyle Allen as their new starting quarterback. And I think that we're beyond talking about this season, Kevin, and we're talking about Cam Newton's future and whether or not it's in Carolina. He's scheduled to count $18.6 million next year. They can move on from him with a $2 million cap charge. Again, questionable whether we'll see him again this season or even ever again in Carolina.
Schefty, what went into Washington's decision to start Dwayne Haskins for the first time in his career?
Well, this is not an ideal spot for him to be starting, but Case Keenum isn't ready to be out there from a health standpoint. And so because of that, the Redskins have no choice but to trot out, at this point in time, Dwayne Haskins. And again, Buffalo is one of the toughest defenses in the NFL on the road, tough venue. Good luck to Dwayne Haskins in his first start.
All right, now, what more can you tell us about the status of Patrick Mahomes against the Vikings?
Kevin, he is being listed as questionable for Sunday's game against Minnesota, but keep in mind that he ran scout team all week long. So if he's running scout team, in my own mind, it's hard to imagine that we're going to see Mahomes on Sunday. We'll see how the Chiefs decide to handle it. When he first got hurt, that knee, they said it was the 3-week injury. He's missed 1 game. This could potentially be a second, and then maybe he could be back the following week, which would be the 3rd game.
All right, the other big story this afternoon in the NFL, embattled wide receiver Josh Gordon recently released by the Patriots. You're reporting that he has been claimed today by the Seahawks. Is this a surprise, Adam?
What's a surprise, Kevin, is that he lasted to the 28th turn in waivers. And that means that 27 other teams bypassed the chance to put in a waiver claim on Josh Gordon, whom Seattle claimed at the 28th slot. Now, Seattle's always looking for big-name, talented wide receiving help, and it got Josh Gordon on waivers today. They released Dakota Watson, the veteran linebacker, to make room for him, and this worked out exactly how the Patriots thought because they put him on waivers. Seattle claims his salary, and now it has Josh Gordon to team with Tyler Lockett and DK Metcalf and some of the other talented wide receivers in Seattle. Another weapon for Russell Wilson as the Seahawks try to make the playoffs.
Lockett leads the team, 46 catches, 4 touchdowns. This afternoon, Pete Carroll said Gordon's a unique talent, and next week we'll take a look and see what he looks like. So he's not going to play coming up. We'll see how this plays out next week. Adam Schefter with the very latest around the NFL.
More o'clock Eastern time here on ESPN. Despite Brooklyn's 1-3 start, Kyrie Irving averaging more than 35 points a game. That's second most in the league this season, trailing only James Harden, his opponent tonight. For perspective, this is Kyrie's 9th season. It's the highest scoring 4-game stretch of his entire career. Harden coming off a 59-point performance Wednesday in that 159-158 win at Washington. It's now the highest scoring game decided by a single point in NBA history. Harden, by the way, has been very efficient so far. Russell Westbrook adapting just fine to his new surroundings. After averaging a triple-double in each of the last 3 seasons, Russ is doing it again in the early going on his new team. He's putting up 22.5 per game, ranked 2nd in the league in assists and 7th in rebounds per game. The new look Rockets tonight on the road in Brooklyn, and Jeff Van Gundy will be on the call for this game, top of the hour here on ESPN. Jeff, good to have you on with us again. Listen, I know it's very early, just 4 games in, but I have to ask you, you're in Houston usually, that's where you live. How would you evaluate the Harden-Westbrook duo and how they're coexisting so far?
Well, very well. They have not shot the ball particularly well, and they have some defensive lapses that they've got to correct. But I think Harden and Westbrook have done a good job together. First of all, they needed Westbrook because their rebounding previously was awful. He's by far their best rebounder. And when he defensive rebounds, he gives them that quick strike ability up the floor. If they don't have anything in transition, basically they turn the half-court game over to James Harden. And Harden, as we well know, is such a great pick-and-roll and isolation player. He absolutely lives at the rim and at the free throw line. So I think they found a good balance between fast break of Harden and fast break with Westbrook,
yes.
Half court with Harden.
You mentioned, though, the offense versus defense. So far, just 4 games with the best offense in the NBA, the 2nd worst defense with a lot of basketball to go. I'd like your reaction, though, Jeff, to the breaking news that Steph Curry will be out at least 3 months. Everybody is basically saying their season is over. They're not making the playoffs. Can you put your coaching hat back on for a second? If you're Steve Kerr, you've still got an entire season left. How do you approach this with your players?
Well, I think you're honest with them, and you talk only about improvement. Even with Curry, they were on a course where they weren't good enough to make the playoffs. They had just too many holes. Curry obviously is great. Draymond Green, very good. D'Angelo Russell, to be determined. But past that, they had a lot of young, inexperienced, unproven guys. So now with Curry out, I think Steve Kerr is just going to worry about improvement. They're not going to make the playoffs most likely, but they can improve on a daily basis. So by the end of this year, they should have a good idea of the young guys who are keepers and who to move along.
It's been a great 5-year run for them. They knew it would come to an end eventually. Meantime, Jeff, we'll see you top of the hour right here on ESPN for.
Side forward Kyle Kuzma will make his season debut. Kuzma suffered a stress reaction in his left ankle back in August when he playing for Team USA ahead of the FIBA World Cup. Kuzma was 2nd on the Lakers, averaging almost 19 points per game a season ago. He's got Mavs owner Mark Cuban behind him shooting jumpers for this live shot. Lakers reporter Dave McMenamin joining us now from Dallas. And
so he got nervous,
he got nervous, right? Yeah, that's because of the defense from McMenamin. Dave, what's the Lakers' plan for working Kuzma back into the rotation here tonight?
This is going to be his first action in 11 weeks. And so certainly this is going to be a challenge for him, but it's all going to come down to relying on the pieces that they already have working for them, and then Frank Vogel managing Kuzma's workload.
How is his conditioning right now?
It's pretty good. It's pretty good. He went through a full practice in the G League the other day. We didn't have a long practice yesterday, but he got up and down some. And, it's not going to feel, those practices are not going to feel like it feels tonight. That's the thing. The adrenaline, the real game is different. And, we'll just keep an eye on it.
Kuzma's going to be on a minute restriction tonight, around 15 to 20 minutes. When we asked Kuzma how many minutes he'd play, he said 20. Frank Vogel said, well, he heard what he wants to hear. It's actually 15 to 20 minutes for Kyle Kuzma in his season debut.
All right, Dave. Yeah, Cuban's behind you right now. He's been shooting, working a sweat. How would you rate his J right now?
Oh, man, I don't know if he can hear me, but I'm going to go like a 6 or a 7. I wish we could just switch jobs right now. He can grab the mic, I'll grab the ball. Keep the night going.
The way McMenamin's face was, a 6 or a 7 maybe on a 100 scale. Dave McMenamin covering the Mavericks Lakers tonight. Appreciate it. We'll see that game 9:30 on ESPN. We got jokes for Mark. We got it.
Oh, yeah.
He's calling for the ball, going right to his spot.
Harden. Oh, jeez. Harden against Hachimura. Harden.
Beard gets around field, lays it up with the right hand and scores. Now 51.
Harden for 3. 54.
And he makes it to give the Rockets a 1-point lead. Beard's got 59. Misses it. 2 seconds. One ball is loose. Harden recovers it, and the Rockets win.
Hello, James Harden scoring 59 of the Rockets' 159 points. Unbelievable. That was against the Wizards. Tonight, they're in Brooklyn to take on the Nets. NBA Countdowns, Jay Williams with us now here on SportsCenter. Hello, Jay. It's been a long week for Kyrie.
Hey, Mark Cuban's jump shot, he got a lot of lift on that. I give him some credit. There's a surprising lift.
I think he looks great. It looks like he's lost some weight. He looks ready for the season as the owner from the bench. Let's see what that does. I don't know. Not always a good thing with him. Okay, this game tonight on ESPN. Kyrie, this Nets team, an interesting week after kind of the drama. They have a tall task ahead of them tonight as Russell Westbrook and James Harden come to Brooklyn. He knows how to block things out, Kyrie, block out the noise. What do you expect from him tonight?
Well, look, you're looking at the most two innovative and electric players we have in the game of basketball as it relates to one-on-one basketball. You can go through history, and I don't know, Allen Iverson, Pistol Pete Maravich, you will have James Harden and Kyrie Irving in those situations along with those names. So, look, Houston allows you to score a lot of points. We saw that with the Washington Wizards scoring 158 points. And here's a stat for you, too, Sage. The last 6 or 7 halves that the Rockets have played in, they have allowed 60 points a half. The question is, does Brooklyn have enough scoring in conjunction with Kyrie, Spencer Dinwiddie, Karis LeVert? Can they carry that load with the Rockets? That's the question.
Okay, we'll see if that question is answered tonight. Again, Kyrie, though, averaging 35 points per game, second in the league to James Harden. So the other big news, Stephen Curry out for 3 months with the surgery in his broken left hand, Jay. Yeah. No Clay. KD's long gone. Draymond Green, he was frustrated before Steph went down. As the leader, how should Draymond handle this team, Jay?
Well, I think Draymond and D'Lo is going to be a dual responsibility. And first off, let me say how horrible I feel for Stephen Curry. I wish him a quick recovery. 3 months is a long time. But I feel like this could be a great learning opportunity for this young basketball team. They're the 4th youngest basketball team in the league. And this could be a blessing in disguise for this team. I'm not saying anybody's injury is a blessing, but that's the way you have to look at it now. Now you have a lot of young pieces that are going to get a chance to play a lot of minutes that could increase trade value. They can make moves. And also, they have a top 20 protected pick in the draft. Can you imagine if they got a top 3 draft pick and they got a guy like Anthony Edwards? This team would be on their way to potentially winning a championship next year.
This franchise of all franchises knows exactly how to handle adversity. Jay Williams, thank you. We'll see you tonight in the Countdown Crew later here on ESPN. Good to see you.
Thank you.
That Countdown Crew getting us ready for Nets and, of course, the Rockets. Back here with Woj. You were in Brooklyn Wednesday night. You watched this team lose to the Pacers. Kyrie, second in the league in scoring. He's been fantastic offensively, but this team is 1-3. What's behind this slow start so far?
I mean, a few things, Kevin. Number one, they're still trying to learn how to play with Kyrie. This was a team that really built its reputation the last couple of years around ball movement, sharing the ball, and now it is dominated by him. And, Kenny Atkinson even said after that game, we're not really running any offense. And part of that, too, they lost training camp time because of that trip to China. And look at the teams that went to India, China, the Pacers, the Kings, the Nets, slow starts. And the travel time there and back, not getting much work done while you're over there. All those teams feel like that time away sets them back. And you know that when you come back from one of those international trips, they're going to play better. And another thing, defensively, this is a team that has gotten overmatched inside. You see Jared Allen tonight playing center instead of DeAndre Jordan.
All right, so no panic right now, but keep this in mind. The Nets, they have a tough 5-game road trip that starts next Friday in Portland. Keep that in mind if you see this team after 10 games on the season. Woj, thank you so much.
Kev.
A live look at James Harden. Look at that average, almost 37 points per game. Leads the team, leads the entire league as Harden and Westbrook gelling so far, 3-1 on this young season. Who knows what they'll be able to do? Remember, though, their offense, number 1 in the league. Their defense, second to last. Just under 6 minutes to go before tip-off here on ESPN.